Hi, welcome to the Whiskey Chicks podcast. My name is Amy.
And I'm Amy's sister, Suzie.
We are going to be talking to you about Whiskey Chicks. You may ask yourself, what in the world is a Whiskey Chick? Well, it's a term our Nana, our grandmother, used to describe anything and everything, like a doodad or a thingamajig.
For our purposes today, Amy and I have framed Whiskey Chicks as those random moments in life that accumulate over time that compel us to grow, learn, and evolve. Whether it's good, bad, ugly, funny, or sad, with each Whiskey Chick comes a lesson, an aha moment, a lotus blooming from the mud and muck, resulting in wisdom and healing.
Whiskey Chicks have brought us both to a place in our lives where we love ourselves and speak our truths. The last thing Nana said to me before she passed on was, "Be true to yourself, little A." That was the nickname she had for me. The angel spoke straight through her in that moment, and I knew I had quite a journey ahead of me. It was that Whiskey Chick, the last Whiskey Chick she delivered, that set me off on an incredible growth journey. She is the force behind this creative endeavor. We dedicate every Whiskey Chick to her. We're grateful you're here.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Whiskey Chicks podcast. I'm Suzie.
And I'm Amy.
And now you're actually going to be able to see us. Why? Because I got my computer. Yeah.
Hallelujah.
We've updated our kit, if you will. So now you're going to be able to see us and hear us. So we'll have to make sure we're all dolled up for you.
Oh my God, I completely forgot we were going to... You mean we're going to be on camera the entire time?
Yeah.
People,
we're putting this on YouTube. Like, they're going to see everything. So you better make sure nothing's hanging out of your nose or you're presentable.
I'm glad I actually had to go somewhere today, because now I'm like,
yeah,
I didn't even think about that. All right. Anyway,
it's all good. Yeah. I mean, we're transparent here. But anyway, yes, I want to tell everyone that it's been a rough road with my computer situation, and that is now fixed. I want to heartfully, from the bottom of my soul, thank the people that dug deep and threw me some bucks to push me over the edge. I did have some money saved, but you all know who you are. I'm not going to name you, but thank you so much. So here we are back at it. And so this is take 3 or 4 trying to do this episode. God, it's probably going to be really entertaining, because we're going to try to remember what we said the last 3 times. But anyway, so today's episode is going to be about the truth. Yep. Speaking the truth. Handling the truth, right?
Yeah, little bit of a different angle. More about handling the truth.
Yes. Yeah, so we exist here in the United States, specifically in a very fear-based society, and we all know the world is a very challenging place as it is. And I believe, I think I can say this now, being in my 50s, and I know you would agree, there is definitely a lot lost in translation with technology being what it is. Theoretically, we're all supposed to be more connected, and I feel it's doing the opposite. I feel like it's disconnecting us from being able to look someone in the eye and have like a full-blown conversation with them.
Well, and read the person's energy and body language and facial expressions. I mean, that's difficult to do over a text. And I think stuff gets miscommunicated so many times because of that.
I have to wonder how often we subconsciously misread a text energy, like response from someone, and take it personally and like, oh God, they're mad.
Right.
Well, I've upset them. Versus
I find myself having to, I create an answer on a text and having to use an emoji just to make sure the person gets the right message. Like, is it crying, or is it like, I've said something, but here's a happy face, so it's a positive thing, so.
Yeah. No, it's true. I mean, I throw a lot of rainbows at people. That's which I feel pleasant. universal for it's all good. But yeah, this happened yesterday actually, where I was communicating something to my bestie here, and I like had my phone in my hand, and I'm like, my thumbs. I just called her. I just freaking called her because I'm like, my thumbs can't take it. I just want to like actually have this conversation, and there was just some value in that. Luckily, I think she gets it, so that worked. But anyway, we do find ourselves very often in situations where we're faced with, and you can be any age from childhood to uh I was going to say something really from childhood to seniorhood, if that's how you want to say it, where you have to fess up to something, or someone asks you a direct question, and now you're faced with the response that you give, the truthful response may or may not put this person in a place of upset or anger or whatever. So
Defensive.
Offensive. Yeah. We all know, I shouldn't say we all, anybody that knows me knows that my lifelong work in progress is that I always am working on my delivery, because I was misunderstood a lot. Are you mad? Are you mad? No, I'm not freaking mad. I'm passionate. That's what I say. But anyway,
this,
yeah, but I think this whole truth thing starts from when we're young, and you do something as a child and you get caught, and you're standing in front of one of your parents, and they're like, and the parent says, did you XYZ? And you're like, I have a big decision to make right now. So, but I think that stems from like, from how you're raised that way, I think projects into adulthood. Whereas if you have a parent, I think we tried to talk about this in one of the other recordings, that doesn't create that safe space for you to actually be able to tell the truth without like, ducking like that, which is what we did most of our lives.
Well, let's before we go any further with that, let's back her up. Boop, boop, boop. And kind of let them know how we decided on handling the truth initially weeks ago. But I was laying in bed, half asleep, kind of in between dream and awake. And it kind of came to me. Actually, we were trying to think of our next podcast subject, and I thought of, or the I Love Lucy episode came to me. And there's an episode, I don't know, for all your I Love Lucy fans out there, you might be aware of this, but there's an episode where, Lucy always tells little white lies. She doesn't tell the complete truth. And she doesn't do it maliciously or anything like that. But Ethel, Fred, and Ricky actually make a bet with her that she cannot tell the absolute truth for everything. And unbeknownst to them, she does tell the truth and really tells it like it is. I mean, that's what she's supposed to do. Like, so Lucy, how does this dress look? Or Lucy, how does my hair look? Or Lucy, whatever. And Lucy's like, you look like a washed out drab, blah, blah, blah. And then Ethel, Fred, and Ricky, because Lucy is telling the truth, what's really on their mind, they get all mad and hurt and stuff because they can't handle the truth. They want the truth, but do they really want to hear it? And, Lucy begins to feel better and better. Like she feels very empowered and like, man, this truth stuff feels good. It's great. It's great to get it off my chest. And, Lucy, Fred, and Ethel, or Fred, Ethel, and Ricky have to at some point go, you know what? This is what we asked for, so we need to be prepared to hear the answer to our question. We may not like it, but it's the truth. So, and then the movie, A Few Good Men, rang through my head, like, you can't handle the truth, that famous line by Jack Nicholson. So I think that kind of begs the question, we want to tell the truth. We want to speak our truth, but why don't we? And it's because oftentimes we don't because we're afraid. We have this fear that the truth is not going to be received in a kind of a higher self way on the other end. Are we going to hurt someone? Are we going to get in trouble? Like back to the parent thing. Are we going to, retaliation, put the other person on the defense, that sort of thing. So I thought it would be a good idea, or we thought it would be a good idea to explore receiving the truth, and how can we foster an environment where the people we love, live with, have relationships with, whatever, on a day-to-day basis, how can we set up an environment that encourages everybody to be straightforward and truthful just by how we handle it and by our reaction? And can we be accepting of the truth, for the questions we ask?
Yeah. I think that,
yeah.
Yeah.
Yep,
I think a big part of that.
Sesame Street.
I think a large part of that comes from, how we are raised. And I'm just going to use, our family as an example. We were raised that if we were caught in a lie or we were asked to fess up about something, if we didn't lie, we were going to get punished. So oftentimes we would lie.
Yep.
And then the lie grows and has layers to it. And of course, the punishment became worse. But we were often afraid to simply tell the truth because we didn't feel safe in that space to do so. Now, we've talked before about how we can rewire our brains, live the 4 agreements and all that stuff, and break karmic contracts, which is exactly what you have done with your daughter, Sophia. And Sophia, if you're listening, you are one of my favorite people on earth. And,
Mine too.
We recently were all in Amsterdam together, visiting family. And I just, Sophia's 21 now and she's married and doing her own thing. But watching the two of you interact with each other, and even when she was younger, like, the times that I was around you guys, like anytime like there was, air quote parenting to do, I mean, it just flowed. There was nothing from her. Like she just walked up and was like, "Mommy, blah, blah, blah." And you had a conversation with her like she was a human being, which she is. And as a result of that, she has become like this amazing soul. So
yeah. Thank you.
Well done. Yeah.
Thank you. Well, I learned what not to do. So by experience.
Well, it's about choice. And, so if you have things that happen to you in your domestication or when you're growing up that you recognize, or those familiar behaviors into adulthood, the great news is you can change it if you want to. You have to do the work, and that can be painful, and there's a lot of grieving involved. But from that comes a life that your higher self recognizes, your authentic self recognizes, and it's I don't know what to say. It's amazing when you do it. It's very freeing, and I have conversations at work all the time. One happened recently where my boss like caught another person doing something, and it's something that I had been doing, and she's like explaining it to me like that we shouldn't be doing that, and I was like, I did that a bunch of times. And I was like, but as of this moment, I'm never going to do it again, because I didn't actually realize I wasn't supposed to be doing it. But instead of not telling her in that moment, and then maybe her finding out later and her being like, why didn't you just tell me you were doing it? I just told her. Why? Because she created that safe space for me to do that. And I'm comfortable standing in my truth and speaking my truth to people, and another wonderful thing that comes from you speaking your truth is the people that are really supposed to be in your life will stay.
Yep.
And
it's a great way to weed out.
Because because they can't handle the truth.
Anyone that doesn't
they're just
belong
not. You will
for your
find out
highest
who's
good.
in line with you.
Right.
Yeah, you'll find out. You'll find out who's in line with your highest good when you start having those truthful conversations. So anyway, yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's important that we all help each other out here a bit, and commit to being really conscious receivers of information and truth, especially if we ask a question. If you ask a question of somebody, you would expect the truth. But by the same token, you need to be willing to listen to and accept the truth and not get defensive or react in a negative way that might discourage that person from telling the truth in the future with you expressing their truth. So I think we all need to take a deep breath and allow ourselves the confidence to receive information that we can take and make ourselves better in some way. It could be as minor as a hair color or as major as, what's a big major thing? I don't know, relationship issues or whatever. But I think creating a safe space is so important. And it creates good conversation too. Truthful conversation, authentic conversation, and having the strength and the disposition to seek further feedback from that person. Like if they've given you an answer to a question and the answer isn't so desirable, but it's truthful, what question can you ask back to say, well, how can I be better? Or what can I do the next time? What would you like to see, like to hear, whatever. I mean, just kind of, getting that dialogue going so that everybody knows what to expect. I don't know. It just creates much more higher level or like higher self dialogue when you encourage that. That makes sense.
Yeah, it does make sense. You know what I was thinking about when you were talking is I've had a lot of medical stuff happen to me over the course of my life, and it's funny when you're sitting in front of a physician and they have to like tell you something's wrong with you, and you're going to need whatever it's going to take to fix it, and they don't dance around what's going on. I mean, the truth just comes out, and they're not saying it to make you feel bad. They're saying it because you need to hear it, because It's the truth. And so I think I've had a lot of practice with that, leading up to even when I was told I had cancer, which I actually laughed when I was told I had cancer, because I was just like, you gotta be kidding me. That's amazing. Wow. Okay. But like, I mean, yeah. So I think about that. I think about like doctors, like that's part of their thing. And sometimes, you'll encounter a doctor that treats you like, you're a car, and they just want to get under the hood and fix you and send you on your way. And then you'll get a doctor that's got like that more like human interaction and connection, that they want to be in that moment with you as they deliver like some news to you, like, hey, this is what's going on, and this is how we think we need to take care of it. So, not that I'm saying I wish anybody has ailments that a doctor puts you in that place to have that interaction, but I'm just saying it just makes me mindful of how we could actually do that when we interact with people. And yeah, I don't know. But creating that safe space just to have an open dialogue, I think is key. I think that is the key to everything with that.
Yeah, and I think as long as we commit to being truth seekers, whether we're telling our own truth or we expect the truth from others and have the strength to hear it no matter what, I mean, we'd all be in just such a much better place, a much better place. And I also think it's important to not hide things for appearance's sake. I think we all need to step up. We all need to step up to our truth and let the chips fall where they fall. That way we're clean, you know? And yeah, it may hurt some people, but like we said earlier, you know, those who really belong in your life will stay. And I just think it's just super important to not hide things too. You know, don't stuff them down and hide just to keep up appearances. Because they'll come back to bite you in the butt.
Just a sidebar. Sometimes when you say things, it makes me realize the differences between you and I, because you're like, some people really want to, you know, keep up appearances. And in my mind, I'm like, some people don't want to be transparent about their shit. That's the difference between you and I. I think that's funny.
Why, your potty mouth is bigger than mine?
Well, there's never a doubt about that. Yes. My squatty potty mouth.
Your squatty potty mouth.
Indeed. But yeah, it took us a very long time to stand in our truth, speak our truth, and you know, just own that. I mean, I don't think I've been comfortably doing that more than the last 6 or 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
I think it took me that long.
Yeah, because, you know, the domestication is real. You know, I know me personally, I have always been afraid to upset people. So I won't completely come clean, or I'll alter my truth in some way, strictly to not upset people. And that is no way to live. That is not the truth. And it's just been in the last few years that I've been able to really begin to be comfortable just telling it like it is. And like I said, you can say it with kindness, you can say it with love, whatever the case may be, but you got to tell the truth. And, you know, sometimes you can set it up so that your recipient receives it in a certain way. That's just kind of the art of communication. But, you know, it's important to just get it out there and tell it like it is. It really is. And, but it takes practice and it takes courage too, especially if you've been domesticated to, fudge things in order to save your skin.
Save your skin from big welts from the wooden spoon.
Or the belt.
Or the belt, yeah. It was funny, I just looked up, just quickly, just Googled truth, and this one definition says, that which is true or in accordance with fact or reality. Which makes sense, right?
Absolutely.
We just, I mean, when you hear the word truth, I know what doesn't come to mind is fact or reality. I just hear truth, but that is part of it. And so, yeah, but I know now I forgot that you were going to talk about the Lucy dream, and that's how we came up, or you came up with the idea for this episode. And then I wanted to remember to mention, I actually am not a fan of Mark Twain. I never read any of his books unless I was required to in school, but our dad is actually a huge Mark Twain fan. And he reminded me of this quote years ago, and that's that if you tell the truth, you never have to remember anything. And so that runs through my head a lot when I'm in a position where I feel like, you know, yeah, I gotta say the truth. I'm not saving face. I'm not protecting it. I'm just gonna lay it out. So, and I forget things all the time. So that's helpful for me.
Yeah, no, but that's such a powerful statement, because, you know, lies just lead to more lies, It's kind of like Western medicine, and how we treat conditions, right? We tend to treat the symptoms rather than the the root cause oftentimes, so it's like, okay, I'll give you a pill for that. And then the pill has side effects. Oh, then I'll give you a pill for the side effects. And then that has side effects. And pretty soon you're on this horrible regimen for one. You forgot even what the problem was in the first place. So it's the same thing. It's just layer upon layer. Important just to tell it like it is in the beginning, so you don't have to keep creating layers.
Well, it's funny because I don't know. We realize we're doing this where if we are in a situation where we feel like we can't tell the truth, that you automatically cause stress in the body.
Yep.
Same thing with if something's ailing you and you're stressed about that. And then you're sitting in front of a doctor and they're like, so then they're like, well, then you take this pill and then that pill's going to have those side effects. So it's just like you say, the stress upon stress upon stress. Stress makes us sick. It makes us so sick. I know so many women that are in their crone years that have hot flashes, and I tell them mine are basically cured. And they say, well, how the hell did you do it? I'm like, I've realized that stress was causing almost all my hot flashes. Once I figured that out, I have like hot flushes once in a while, but I have not had like a full blown hot flash in years.
Yeah, me neither.
Where I used to live with them and they ruled my life.
Mm-hmm.
And so but I don't think in our daily lives we realize how many levels of stress we put ourselves under without even realizing it. And just to it's so important then to take those moments to just relax and breathe and try not to let that stress eat you, because it messes with your mind. Because if you think lying to someone is going to relieve you of stress, that's bullshit, because it's going to cause more stress, because the truth is still going to be in your mind that you haven't told, right?
Yes.
That causes more stress. So it's like, you might as well just have a cup of stress all day, like a sippy cup. Sip from it. So, I mean, we have stress all day, every day. We have triggers and all that. Well, we also have choice. We have choice as to how much of that stress we allow, or how much of that stress we allow to, I don't want to say fix, but to diffuse.
Mm-hmm.
So it really is mind over matter. It really is. I mean, if you have to look at someone and deliver some news that you're like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm going to say this. Chances are that's something that you've been living with for a long time, and it's just been putting all this stress and pressure on you. But once you release that, oh my God.
Yeah,
the truth does set you free. I mean, not to sound cliche, but it literally sets you free.
It does. And I know with myself, if I'm holding on to information, maybe I haven't told an out and out lie, but maybe I'm withholding information. And that, in a sense, is also not telling the truth, because, this is information that you need to get off your chest, that the other person needs to know about. But with me, if I'm withholding something, I start to create this internal dialogue with myself. It's like I'm talking to myself about it, and I get myself worked up, and then pretty soon in my mind, the person that I'm getting worked up about, I mean, they know nothing about it, right? But I've already kind of condemned them in my internal dialogue without even giving them a chance to, answer me or hear what I have to say, and that, I can speak from personal experience, man. Does that keep you wound up on the inside? Just thinking and thinking and whirling and talking to yourself about it and creating scenarios that don't even exist. It's like, don't talk about it to yourself. Talk about it to the person that you need to address. You owe it to them and you owe it to yourself. But that internal dialogue stuff just is so counterproductive. So counterproductive.
And just like so many things we talk about here, at Whiskey Chicks is, and believe me, Amy and I, like, everything that we talk to you guys about is stuff that we have been either working on in our own personal lives and our souls, or things we have experienced, or both simultaneously that work together. But the one foundation of all of this is that we had to work on the relationship with ourselves.
Yep.
And that is making both of us realize that there are relationships in our lives that are not in line with the authentic higher selves that we are. And there's no offense to that. It's just that, and here comes some truth speaking. Like I said, some people will fall away, and you just need to let that happen and trust that the people that are for your highest good are the ones that are going to enter your life and stick around, and to not be afraid of that.
Yep.
Because, don't think about, again, I've said this before, don't think about what you're giving up. Think about what you're gaining. Mm-hmm. And that self-love, that self-acceptance of you is where it starts, and being truthful with yourself. And because if you can't have that relationship with yourself, how are you supposed to have a relationship with anyone else or anything? It starts with you. And we lose that. Most of us lose that somewhere from when we're raised into adulthood. We forget, like, wait a minute, I'm here to be happy and have a purpose and be my higher self and live my dharma, blah, 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 blah. And again, Amy and I, like, this is still, I feel like, in its infancy for us, because we're figuring that out. And this whole podcast is you guys being on that journey with us, and us just, like, sharing stuff with you. So that's important.
And hopefully something will ding ding, give you an aha moment. Who knows? Something you can relate to.
Give you an aha and a ha 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 moment. Well, on that note, do you have some homework to assign? Let's wrap this sucker up.
Yeah, let's do that. I do, actually. So, couple things. You can pick. You can do one or both. Doesn't matter. First thing is, try to practice being on the receiving end of someone's truth. And how are you going to react? How are you going to accept what they're saying? How are you going to continue the dialogue or ask questions if you have them? You're not going to react or get hurt or get defensive, because this is this person's truth. And maybe they have something that's important for you to hear, to create an opportunity for even just a tiny bit of growth or whatever. That's number one. Number two, I talked about that internal dialogue thing. If you've got something you're stewing about, creating that internal dialogue, if you're withholding some kind of information that you've been wanting to tell somebody, get off your chest, do it before it burns up much more inside of you. Get rid of that internal dialogue. Stop talking about it with yourself. Go talk about it with the person it's intended for. So pick one, do both, but both good practices.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Let's end it there.
Yep.
Yes, we want to thank you for being patient with us, getting back on track here, but we are back, and here we go. Onward. All right, everybody, listen, you all take care of yourselves out there. Stand in your truth, speak your truths, and be your authentic selves. And we're grateful that you're here with us. So until next time, what would old Nana say?
Be true to yourself.